Hello, friend, and welcome to Sex Addicted Christian. I'm your guide, Jimmy Trent, and we are here to crush the shame, to cultivate community, to confront the real cause of your porn or sex addiction, and to commit to change. I've got a question for you today. Why do you keep going back to the thing that you hate? Why does this happen? Why do you keep doing this same thing over and over again? I hate it. It's miserable. It hurts. Why can't I stop? Is this you today? If it is, you need to know that you're not going to overcome this by simply trying harder. That's not the problem that we really need to face. The real problem that we need to face is something that's operating just under the surface. Recently, I was speaking with one of my clients that I coach one on one, and he was describing his life this way. He says, this addiction, this pornography, this masturbation, it kills my confidence in my own ability to do anything in my life. This is one of the things that he says he's never succeeded in, although he's very successful in so many other places in his life. He feels like he has an imposter syndrome and feels completely disconnected from God. One thing that he said, he's like, I feel like I've given up and I'm just deeply discouraged. I've tried my hardest and I've failed. There's a cycle of failure, he ends with whenever we talked about this. And the cycle honestly goes something like this, because he's on to something whenever he's thinking about it in that way, that the cycle typically goes something like, I have an urge, I act out, I feel regret and shame for what I've done, I make promises, and then I just repeat. But here's the good news today, friend. You are not alone in this. If this sounds familiar, know that I've experienced it. Those people that I coach on a weekly basis experience it. And if this is something that you're experiencing today, just know that you're not alone in that. And so many people are trying desperately to stop with just commitment and willpower, as if somehow we can just pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We can grin and bear it. We can grit our teeth. We can flex our muscles and we can overcome the thing. But I'm telling you, friend, this is not the way to freedom. This is not the way to overcome the shame that is so deeply entrenched in your life. If you don't understand, listen to me, friend, if you don't understand the cycle that's happening under the surface, then you will never, never truly find freedom. So we're going to talk about this for a few minutes today, this idea of the shame cycle. And what this cycle leads to is an addiction trap. So you have this shame cycle that's circling and circling and circling. And that shame cycle is what I like to call the addiction trap. It goes something like this. So listen up: trigger, temptation. And once we feel the temptation, we act out. We look at porn, we masturbate, we go to a strip club, we get online and look at Instagram reels, whatever that thing is, we act out. And in that acting out, we get a sense of temporary relief. But as soon as that relief as soon as that relief goes away, we immediately feel shame. And that shame leads us, most of us, to hiding. And then we repeat the cycle over and over again. Now, we aren't going to break the whole cycle down today. If you want to get more entrenched in that, you want to understand the nuances of that cycle along with much other stuff, we do have a monthly Crush the Shame challenge. And so I want to invite you to the challenge. You can find all that information below in the notes or at sexaddictedchristian.com, Crush the Shame. So go there. So we're not going to get too much into that particular cycle, but I want to focus and highlight just a part of that, because what I want you to know here is extremely, extremely important. Shame isn't just the result, it is actually the thing that fuels the cycle and keeps it going. So shame's not just the result. Listen to me. Shame is not just the result of acting out in your sexual addiction. It actually also turns into the fuel that keeps this cycle going. So let's just reframe it. I need you to have a mindset shift here. I need you to change the way that you think, the way that you understand, the way that you believe. Trying harder to stop looking at porn is not going to help you. Shame kept to yourself in secrecy only reinforces this cycle. So understand this. Your temptation to act out comes from some trigger that leads to porn, right? Or some other way of acting out sexually. But the acting out itself leads to more pain because then now you feel shame, disconnection from God, disconnection from others. So the acting out leads to more pain and triggers, right? That you just look for relief again in the sex addiction. So it happens something like this. Whatever that original pain was, whatever that pain point was, the trigger, the discomfort that you felt, whatever that was, that's where your original shame cycle started and this addiction trap happens, right? But now in the process of that shame cycle, you act out. And that acting out is the very thing that leads to an additional pain. So now what's happened is you don't just have the original pain or the original trigger or the original discomfort or whatever it was, which led you to then try to cope with your sex addiction. Now the sex addiction itself actually adds another level of pain. So now we've doubled the strength of this cycle. Is that making sense to you today, friend? I want you to hear this. You've been fighting the wrong battle. You've been fighting a battle to try to stop just by your own strength, to try to stop looking at pornography or to stop masturbating or to stop going to the strip club or to stop hiring prostitutes or whatever your particular is within this addiction. You've been fighting the wrong battle. I need you to look just beneath the surface and to see this cycle that is happening and where we can actually do some meaningful work if we can see that clearly. So, practical step for you today. Super quick, super simple thoughts here in terms of this shame cycle, but a practical first step that you can do is that you can bring this shame into the light. That is the only way that you are going to break the shame cycle and to get out of the addiction trap is you have to come out into the light with someone. You've got to do that. Otherwise, the cycle just spins and spins and spins, and it gets stronger and it gets faster and it gets further down a road of devastation and death in your life as sin just literally brings more death to us. And so you've got to bring this into the light. You have to stop the isolation. You've got to get into relationship with someone that you trust. And I know this is a hard step. I know it is. I've lived it. I've seen it. It's always hard. It's never easy, but it is the answer. So you can break that pattern now that you're aware of this cycle going on underneath the surface. You have this new framing, this new knowledge, this new understanding that is not just the behavior that's happening, that there's something happening beneath that. And if you want to do that, friend, if you want to finally crush the shame of your sex addiction, I want to invite you to my challenge. It's a 3-day live virtual event. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about shame as it relates to this struggle and how it relates to you and how you feel about yourself, how God responds to your shame and your brokenness and your sin and your sexual addiction, and also how to step out of it. Once you crush the shame, you've taken one of the biggest steps in your freedom journey. So friend, if you're listening at the time that this video was released, there is a challenge coming up really shortly in May, and I don't want you to miss it. I want you to be there. Please, my invite to you, come hang out with me in the Crush the Shame Challenge. If this is something that you're listening to this video way down the road somewhere else in a different time zone or different time frame, then there's one soon. I'm running these every month. And so please join me at the next Crush the Shame Challenge. You can get all the information at sexaddictedchristian.com/crush the shame, or you can follow the link below in the description. Friend, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out today. If something in this video was helpful to you, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. Let me know down below. You can find everything you need on the website, sexaddictedchristian.com. Friend, bye for now, and I'll see you on an episode real soon.